You're lying awake, not because you're sick, and not because you're excited. You're awake because of a number. It's a small number, 4 digits, maybe three. And it's currently the only thing standing between you and the version of yourself you promised you'd become. You tell yourself that money doesn't change people, that you'll be the same you at 100 million that you are at zero. You're wrong. Wealth isn't a scorecard. It's an environmental shift. Like climbing a mountain, the air gets thinner, the views get wider, and the person who started at the base is physically, mentally, and emotionally incapable of surviving at the summit. This is the anatomy of that transformation. This is your life at every level of net worth. Level 1. The survival grind. Level 1 is the loudest. At zero, every decision is an arithmetic problem. You don't buy coffee. You buy time. You don't buy a car, you buy a commute. You know the exact price of a gallon of milk. Not because you're a savvy shopper, but because that 40-cent difference actually matters. The psychological weight here is the hum. It's a constant, low-frequency anxiety that vibrates in the back of your skull. You check your banking app 4 times a day, as if staring at the number will somehow make it grow through sheer observation. The first rule: at zero, money is your master. It tells you where to live, what to eat, and who you have to be nice to. The shift. You stop asking, how much does this cost? And start asking, how much of my life is this worth? Level 2. The false summit. You hit 10,000, then 50. For the first time, the hum stops. You can breathe. This is the most dangerous level because it feels like you've won. You buy the better shoes. You stop looking at the price of the appetizer. But then you run the numbers. You realize that at your current salary, it will take you 42 years to reach $1 million. The safety you felt was an illusion. You're just a well-paid prisoner of your own lifestyle. A high salary is a golden cage. If you stop moving, the cage stops eating. The shift. You stop trying to save your way to wealth and start trying to build your way out of labor. Level 3. The asset awakening. You cross 6 figures. It's a milestone everyone talks about, but nobody tells you how quiet it feels. The hum of survival hasn't just stopped. It's been replaced by a new sound, the sound of a machine. For the first time, you see a dividend check or a capital gain that equals a week's worth of your labor. You didn't trade your hours for it. You traded your discipline. This is the moment you stop being a passenger in the economy and start becoming a mechanic. You become obsessed with the machine. You look at your phone, your car, and your subscription services not as items, but as drains on the capital that could be out working for you. Below $1 million, you work for money. At $1 million, you realize that money is a much better worker than you will ever be. The shift. You stop measuring your progress by your bank balance and start measuring it by your cost of existence. You realize that if you can just get the machine to spin fast enough, you never have to ask for permission again. Level 4. The identity crisis. You are a millionaire. You've said the word in your head 1,000 times, but now that it's true, it feels like a lie. You still have the small balance brain. You find yourself arguing over a $20 delivery fee while your portfolio fluctuates by $5,000 in a single afternoon. This is the level of friction. Your old friends think you're set, but you feel more vulnerable than ever. You've stepped out of the safety of the crowd, but you haven't yet reached the fortress of true wealth. You are in the middle of the ocean. You're afraid that one wrong move, one bad investment, one lawsuit, one market crash will send you back to the grocery store line, putting the good coffee back. Real wealth is the ability to say no to things you used to say yes to just to fit in. The shift. You stop trying to prove you have money and start trying to protect the peace that money was supposed to buy. Level 5. The positioning phase. At 5 million, the game changes texture. It's no longer about getting, it's about positioning. You realize that the most valuable thing you own isn't your house or your stocks, it's your access. You start meeting people who don't have jobs, they have interests. You aren't working for a paycheck, you are moving pieces on a board. You might spend 6 months doing nothing, waiting for one single deal, one single entry point, or one single partnership. You've learned the hardest lesson of wealth, that doing nothing is often the most profitable work you can do. You are no longer a participant in the market. You are a spectator waiting for the perfect moment to become a participant. Risk is no longer a threat to your survival. It is the price of admission for the next level. The shift. You stop caring about the price of things and start caring about the terms. You realize that how a deal is structured matters more than the number at the bottom. Level 6. The institutional shift. You are no longer a person. You are an institution. You have a family office. You have lawyers whose only job is to imagine things going wrong. You have accountants who treat your life like a complex puzzle. The isolation here isn't lonely, it's functional. You simply cannot speak the same language as the people you grew up with. When they talk about inflation or the economy, they are talking about things that happen to them. When you talk about those things, you are talking about variables you are actively hedging against. You exist at an altitude where the weather is different. You give away more money in a year than your parents earned in a lifetime, yet you feel a strange sense of detachment from the cash itself. It has become a purely digital score. Complexity is the tax you pay for scale. The bigger the fortress, the more guards you have to feed. The shift. You stop looking for returns and start looking for resilience. You aren't trying to win anymore. You're just making sure you can never lose. Level 7. The legacy horizon. 100 million. It is a number that has no relation to the human experience of buying things. You could buy 1,000 cars and it wouldn't move the needle. You have reached the horizon. Now, the only currency that matters is impact. You look at demographic shifts, infrastructure cycles, and the movement of history. You aren't thinking about the next quarter. You're thinking about the next century. You build foundations not just for the tax break, but because you need a place to put all that energy. You realize that the machine you spent your whole life building will now outlive you. The 23-year-old you were would be terrified of the person you are now. Because to get here, you had to kill the parts of yourself that were afraid, the parts that were small, and the parts that just wanted to be fine. At the summit, money stops measuring your worth and starts measuring your reach. The final shift. You realize the journey wasn't about the money at all. It was about the distance between who you were and who you were capable of becoming. The balance is $1,247. It always starts there. It's time to go back to work.